What is up, guys? Thank you for checking out another Guido Stackin video. In this video, I'm going to be redoing my selling guide, how to sell your gold and silver yourself. I feel like the best way to start this video would be to basically do a comparison of you taking your collection to a coin dealer versus you selling it yourself. What are the perks of both? What are the cons of both? I do want to say I made this video a long time ago. Things have changed. Social media is way more prominent now than it was then, even though it's pretty prominent. But things have changed, just like everything else. All my videos, most of them are now outdated, unfortunately. So I will be doing a lot of remake videos like this one. So if you've been thinking about how to sell your gold and silver yourself, I do want to first warn you, it's a lot harder than you think. There's a lot of variables that most people don't think about. I see a lot of people in these groups try to sell on their own and realize right away it is not as easy as it looks, and all of a sudden they just kind of drop off. So I do want to mention the pros and cons of taking it to a coin dealer. So what's happening when you're taking your collection to a coin dealer? You are obviously not going to get full price. So if you've done your research and you've come up with a number, right? A retail number, meaning this is exactly what my collection is worth. You cannot expect to get that exact number from a coin dealer. They can't pay you full price. And if they did, we wouldn't have coin dealers. They need to make money. Now, they are not charging you for their service, but they are taking a certain amount of money out of the value of your collection out. So that is technically the payment for their service. And what you're getting out of this service is they are selling your stuff for you on your behalf, right? All you're doing is bringing it to them, and they are going to offer you a amount, and you are done. That's it. You got your money. You don't have to worry about shipping. You don't have to worry about scams. You don't have to worry about insurance. You don't have to worry about taxes. You don't have to worry about packages getting lost in the mail, so on and so forth. For the convenience, they are going to take a certain percentage out of the value of your collection. That's just the way it works. And in return, you are getting that convenience I just mentioned. You're literally walking in, spending an hour for them to come up with a number, and then leaving, and you are done. Now, if you're selling privately, now it becomes almost like a part-time job because you have to take pictures of the stuff. I'm going to recommend to sell on Facebook. You're going to have to write your name on a piece of paper with the date for every single piece that you're trying to sell. It's called a proof picture. So I'm going to go over this stuff in more detail, but I'm just trying to give you an example of the work that there's a lot of work involved in selling your own stuff privately, because you will most likely have to do it online. You will have to have a social media presence. There's no other way around it. You don't want to be selling peer-to-peer, in person, thousands of dollars worth of metal. You just don't want to do it. You don't want to do it on OfferUp and meet somebody and deal with cash. And it's just, I really do not recommend it at all. This is your only way to sell privately, efficiently, and safely. Now, you are going to have to give up a couple things. You're going to have to give up your first and last name. You're going to have to give up your Facebook, because in order to get into these groups, I'm going to recommend, which I'm not going to go too much into detail with that, because there are names in there, and I just rather not show too many names. I'm just going to give you an example, and if you want more information, you can email me and I can help you out, but not in this video. I don't want to show too much. But anyways, you're going to have to use your actual Facebook, because part of the vetting process to get into a lot of these Facebook groups is longevity on your Facebook page. You can't just make a Facebook page and then expect to get into these groups. They are very strict. So if they see that you made your profile a week ago, they are not even going to let you in the group. Just not going to happen. They want to see that this is a real Facebook page. There is action on the Facebook page. It was made 10 years ago or whatever. And there's things going on. So if your Facebook has been non-active for a long time, you are going to have trouble as well. Even if you opened it up years ago, it's still going to be very difficult because they might think it's a hacked account, which has happened. So you might want to, if you're planning on selling privately somewhere down the road, even if you don't want to, you're going to have to start posting things on Facebook, whether it's pictures of your family, memes, whatever. They just want to see some sort of motion on that Facebook page. I don't recommend Instagram. I tried to sell on Instagram, and it's, to be honest with you, it is a lot more work than it needs to be. So I've kind of let go on it. If you've noticed, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I've sort of let go of selling on Instagram very, very rarely now. There is a lot of buyers that are smoke and mirrors. So, you know, you'll get a guy say, I want that piece. And then you got to chase them. You message them. Hey, did you still want the piece? 2 days go by, 3 days, and they don't answer. There's a lot of that on Instagram, and it's a lot easier to do because everybody has aliases. So, you know, they want to look like a big shot. They bin a $2,000 piece, or they say, I want this $2,000 piece. And it makes them look good on the comment, but then they don't follow through. So you get a lot of that on Instagram. A lot of people will try to chisel you too. What I mean by chisel is if you're selling something for $100, they're gonna try and, you know, would you sell it for 80? Would you sell it for 85? So it's a lot of work on Instagram. People are a lot more, they're just not as honorable, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's really the word I want, but Facebook is different. Everybody's got their real page. It's got their real picture. And then in these groups, a lot of people, there's a lot of dealers that are mixed in these groups. So there's money because dealers are the ones with the money. They're obviously going to pay money to buy things and resell it. So and Instagram is just not the same. I 100% recommend Facebook if you're going to sell privately. That is the short version of what I'm trying to say. Now, I'm going to show you a little snippet here. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you one of the groups that I do recommend. And there's a lot more, not just this one. But unfortunately, I do have to show some names, but it's no big deal. So this is one of the groups. It's called USA Silver, Gold, and Platinum. This is one of the better groups. Every post that you post has to be approved by an admin of the group. So you can't just post and it shows up on the thing. That's why I said there's a lot of security on these pages. So even if you were not looking to sell, but maybe even just to buy, it might be a good thing to try and get into some of these groups. This is one of my favorites here because there is a lot of dealers in here. There is the moderators accept your posts a lot faster. That's another problem with some groups. There's some groups that take a day to approve your post, and that can be annoying with gold and silver moving up and down. So this is one of the best ones that I use. So this is a private group, as you can see right here. It says private. Only members can see who's posting in this group, so nobody can see this unless you are in the group. It is only members can find this group, which I don't know if that is actually true. I think if you were to search this, it would come up, and you would have to do a small questionnaire, which is no personal information, really. It's just kind of asking, what do you collect? What are you joining the group for, to buy or sell? Very basic information, nothing personal or anything like that. So as I mentioned, you are going to have to give up some of your privacy in order to sell privately. It's just part of selling privately. You're going to have to give that up. That's another perk of selling to a coin dealer. You don't have to give up your privacy. You don't have to give them your real name. To be honest, you could, give them a fake name, fake address. Doesn't really matter. So you can leave totally anonymous and be done with it. So that's another perk of selling to a coin dealer. Anyways, so this is what I was mentioning earlier. This is a proof picture. So this person wrote their name the date, and proof of ownership. So here's the coin with their name and the date on a piece of paper. So it's basically just proving that they are not stealing pictures of coins and trying to sell somebody else's coin that they don't even have. They are actually selling a coin that they own, that is in their possession. And this is a requirement for every listing. So if you have a lot of coins and a lot of different variety, you have to do this for every single one. And here is where the labor comes in that I mentioned. This is labor intensive. You have to take a picture. You have to have a proof picture. You got to take it on both sides because they're going to want to see both sides. You can't, if you're going to sell on here, you can't do it halfway. You got to do it all the way. You are trying to sell, so you can't sell a coin only showing one side. You're going to have to show both. So here, so basically, let me just show you a little more here. So you can become an approved seller. They ask you more personal information. There's different ways to do it. The rules, so whatever it is, you can do a buy it now with a set price, or you could do a 24-hour auction, and then you got to mention the increments. So he wants $2 increments. So if someone bids 30, the next high bid has to be 32 and up. Then you got to specify the shipping amount. So $6 shipping. You could add a buy it now option. So if you really want this and you don't want to battle someone in an auction, or if it's getting close to 60, you're like, you know what? I'm just going to buy it. You could say bin 60 and skip the whole auction altogether. Then you got to describe whatever it is. So here it is. That's what they are auctioning. This is supposed to say Zelle, little typo. Zelle is another form of payment. So here's where things get even more complicated selling privately. All these different payment methods that you see here, you're going to have to sign up for. They're all different apps, and they all have limits. And if you sell over 600 on Cash App, you need to file. If you sell 600 on Venmo, you need to file it on your taxes. It needs to be there. PayPal needs to be there. Zelle, I think you might be able to get away with not, but still, I don't recommend it. If they see a lot of money coming through your Zelle, they're going to want to know where it's coming from. So these are things that you need to consider. These are things you're going to have to think of. References is basically just people in the group that he's dealt with, that he's shipped to. So these are all things you're going to have to build as well. You're going to have to build a reputation as a seller. And pretty much the only way to do that, guys, I'm going to take this off real quick, is you're going to have to buy in this group first. Then there's two different ways to do it. You could either accept payment after the buyer receives the product. So you want to make sure the buyer is someone reputable if you're going to do this, by the way. So you kind of need to get references on the buyer. So you would send them the coin, they receive the coin, then they pay you. This builds your reputation. Now you have a reference. That person will reference you as a legitimate seller. You're going to need more than one, so you got to do this a couple times with different people. It's going to take a little time. The second option, if you don't feel comfortable with that, is going to cost you a little more. You're going to have to find a middleman. So you could send the coin to a moderator or somebody that is trusted, that has nothing to do with the deal itself. And once that person receives the coin, then the buyer will pay you. Then that middleman will send the coin to the original buyer. And that is basically having a middleman making sure that the deal goes through. And now you have two references. You have the middleman and you have the person that received the coin. So that's another thing that you can do. Like I said, this stuff takes time. It's pretty complicated, and yeah, it's gonna take some learning to actually do it too. So let's just skim through the group a little bit more real quick, just so you can kind of look a little more. So like I said, the 24-hour auction is basically the 24 hours after the last bid is when the auction ends. So if I were to bid right now on this coin, it would end, if there's no more bids, it would end at 9:18 Eastern tomorrow p.m. if there was no more bids. So 24 hours after the last bid. Then you have the bin options. You can set your own price. Now, one way you can shortcut doing research, if you have a lot of variety and things you haven't looked at in a long time, chances are you lost track of what they're worth. One thing you can do, and I've seen it, I mean, many times, is you can do an auction format. And what this does is basically allow the people to make the price for you. And most of the time, it will sell for at least close to what it's worth, if not more. I've seen people start with a buy it now of, let's just say, $30 with $6 shipping. So $36 is the coin, and then they get no buyers. So what they'll do is they'll start an auction, and all of a sudden the coin sells for like $48 with shipping, because people get in a bidding war. So it could actually work in your favor. There's some people that only do auctions. They start at $1, just let it go, and most of the time it does work out. So that's another option if you don't want to spend the time researching every single piece and what it's worth. And another thing is, you can't really sell exactly for what it's worth. You're gonna have to be a little bit less than retail. That's just how it works. Unless it is an item that is extremely in demand, then you could offer it for full price. Or if it's something really unique, like a colorized panda from North Korea, that's something you don't see every day. That's something that is gonna be wanted because it's something you don't see. So I could put a buy it now price, and it could be nice and high because it's just something you don't see every day. So yeah, the more common things are, the cheaper you're gonna have to be on it. And you're not gonna be able to get full retail for a lot of this stuff either, but it will still work out to your benefit. It'll probably work out better than going to a coin dealer, especially with those semi-numismatics, because most coin dealers are old school. They don't know what those are worth, and they're probably going to pay you close to spot for a lot of those premium rounds and coins. So those are things you would want to sell in these types of groups. So anyways, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I don't recommend Instagram at all. You have to build a following. You have to make sure that these guys are not trying to scam you in some ways. There's buyers that try and scam sellers too. They'll tell you, hey, sell it, send me the coin first. As I mentioned, it's one way to get vetted. And then you'll never hear from them again. At least on Facebook, everybody's using their real account. You can ask other members of the group, is this person legit? And they will tell you yes or no. I've seen them posting. I've done business with them myself. It's just a lot easier on Facebook, as I mentioned, because everybody's names are out there. Everybody's trying to keep their reputation. People need to be vetted to get in. Not saying there's no scams on Facebook, but it's a lot less common than on Instagram. I think that's about it. If you have any more questions, you can write a comment down below. I'll try and answer it as best I can. And I hope this video helps. I hope I answered some questions that you have, but basically, like I mentioned, just to sum it up, it's a little difficult to sell on your own. There's a lot of risk. There's tax implications. Selling to a coin dealer is a lot easier, but you're most likely going to end up with less money. With that being said, guys, make sure you check out my eBay. I have that listed on the side there. I do buy scrap gold. Obviously, I buy coins, coin collections, and I'm very easy to work with as well. You just basically shoot me a picture of your collection to the email that I have over here, somewhere, this side, that side, whatever. And basically, I'll quote you a price, and you ship it to me. Once I get it, I pay you. That's it. So very, very easy if you're thinking about selling. I make it very easy. You could also get auction credit if you are one of those people that attend my auction on Mondays and use it towards the auction. So if you want to change your collection a little bit, there's another way to do it. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you liked this video and it helped you out even just a little, consider subscribing and definitely hit that like button at least 1 second. And thank you so much for watching up to this point. And I will talk to you guys later.